of. And we're rejoined by Representative Matt Salmon. Matt, thanks for sticking around. Such a hot button topic. We wanted to continue the conversation. Let's talk about the legal challenge. Could this wind up in the Supreme Court? And I wanted to ask you, do you think if the president went and acted alone, this would be an impeachable offense?
Well, Charles Krauthammer was asked that same question, I think, just recently on one of the news programs, and I have to agree with him. Of course, it would be, but committing an impeachable offense and getting the 2/3 in the Senate to convict are two different stories. So I mean, we've got to play the hand that we're dealt right now, and I think our strongest hand wants to do something that we believe is unconstitutional, we should defund it. And then he doesn't have the money to be able to do it.
You know, Representative Salmon, MSNBC talk show host Rachel Maddow reacted to your letter. I want to play her thoughts for you and get your reaction.
Matt Salmon from that very conservative district in Arizona, he has just spearheaded an effort that includes more than 50 Republican members of Congress now, in which they are promising that they will not allow Congress to pass the basic legislation that keeps the lights on, that keeps the government running. The basic funding the government legislation, they will not let that pass unless that legislation also somehow blocks President Obama from taking any action on his own on the issue of immigration. So either block the president from doing this or shut the government down. We made it 9 whole days after the election before we could put the next government shutdown on the map.
Congressman Salmon, your reaction to her comments.
You know, the fact that Rachel Maddow is foaming at the mouth is probably a good thing for me. If she liked it, it probably would be a bad idea. But her misrepresentations about us trying to push towards some kind of a government shutdown, that's just Rachel Maddow basically running off at the mouth, saying things that are extreme and not having anything to back it up. Nobody's talking about a government shutdown. We're talking about using our power of the purse to keep the president in line, and that's what we're supposed to do. Nobody's even talking about a government shutdown. Rachel Maddow is as extreme as any left-winger that's out there. And I think it's an actual endorsement for my bill for reasonable people all across America that Rachel Maddow is against it.
Well, Representative Salmon, I think a lot of fellow Republicans kind of echo those sentiments because they feel that there's just a lot more bigger issues out on the table. You know, we don't want to stare down the fiscal cliff. We want to actually attack some of these other issues. Do you agree with that sentiment that basically there are other bigger issues, obviously immigration being one of them, but there are other things that you would like to govern on besides this particular, the immigration
absolutely.
reform?
I mean, the American people have spoken loudly and clearly in the last election, and they expect us to go in there in a very bold way. And I'm telling my colleagues, I'm telling our leadership that if we don't take the mantle of authority that the American people have now given us and convert it into what the American people believe this country should be moving toward, then we're going to lose in 2 years. They didn't put us in there because they like elephants over donkeys or Republicans over Democrats. They want us to take our government back. They want freedom. They want to be able to create their own businesses without the heavy-handed government breathing down their neck all the time. And we've got to get our financial house in order, balance the budget, and we've got to get the heavy hand of regulatory, the heavy hand of Washington off of people's backs. And that means that we're going to have to start mixing it up. And we're going to have to be bold, and we're going to have to put things on the president's desk that he doesn't want on his desk. For the last 2 years, he's been guarded by his lapdog, Harry Reid, at every turn. To put those bills that we passed in his desk drawer and never let them see the light of day. We need to deluge the president with what America wants and make it clear to the American people. If he wants to veto all this stuff, make it clear to the American people it is a do-nothing president, not a do-nothing Congress.
Representative Matt Salmon from Arizona leading the charge on Capitol Hill. circulating a letter, much more to be discussed when it comes to immigration reform and all the other big issues of the day right here on America's Forum.